What if I tell you that the average American food supply won't last more than a week in a real emergency? And here is the thing. Most people do not even realize how unprepared they are until it is too late. In this video, I will talk about 10 products that actually never spoil. Yes, one of them is already in your kitchen. I will explain how to store them properly so they stay fresh for many years, not weeks. And why taste matters, even when it comes to survival. I conducted research, studied expert opinions, and even opened several mysterious cans from my supply. Spoiler, one of them smelled of regret. So if you're worried about inflation, supply issues, or just want to be ready for the next big storm, this video is for you. Stay until the end, as I will also share a bonus tip on how to properly alternate products to prevent waste and how to enhance boring survival dishes with spices you likely already have. Before we begin, write in the comments. Have you recently encountered shortages, rising prices, or panic buying of groceries? Tell me what made you think about your own emergency supply plan. So, what makes products ready for survival? It's not just about choosing those that can be stored the longest. People preparing for emergencies pay attention to several key points before stocking up on supplies. No, it's not just canned beans and mysterious meat. Above all, shelf life is the most important factor. If a product spoils in 6 months, it won't help you in a long-term emergency. You need food that lasts for years, not weeks. Some can be stored for even decades with proper storage. For example, rice, salt, or even honey. Yes, honey never really spoils. But here's the thing. Expiration dates are more like recommendations. The cereal you bought 3 months ago is probably still edible, just not as crunchy as before. Another important factor is calories. In a survival situation, you need energy, so choose foods that are filling but don't take up much space. Sugar, peanut butter, protein bars, all are calorie-dense and easily stored options. Nutrition matters too. You can't live on crackers and sugar alone. Well, maybe for a little while. Balance is needed. Proteins, carbohydrates, fats, and even vitamins. That's why people preparing for emergencies mix different foods. Beans for protein, grains for carbohydrates, and nuts for healthy fats. And don't forget about taste. Yes, survival food doesn't have to be bland. Spices, sauces, and even dried vegetables can significantly enhance the flavor when you eat from a can every day. Thus, the best survival foods meet several criteria: long shelf life, high calorie content, good nutrition, and something that makes your dish tastier. Now that you know what to pay attention to, let's talk about the best products that meet all these requirements. Stay with us, it will be interesting. The first is salt and sugar. When it comes to survival food, salt and sugar are not always the first to come to mind, but believe me, these are two of the most powerful products you can have in your supplies. Salt is a kind of superhero in a package. Ordinary salt, like sea or pink Himalayan, lasts forever. No jokes, it doesn't spoil. This makes it perfect for long-term storage. And it's not just a flavor enhancer. Salt can be used for preserving meat, extending the freshness of milk, and even for maintaining hydration by providing the body with essential minerals. But not all salt is equally beneficial. Some types, such as iodized salt, contain additives that reduce shelf life to about 5 years. Still not bad, but not as good as pure salt. So if you're planning long-term storage, choose options without additives. Now let's talk about sugar. Like salt, sugar can be stored indefinitely if kept properly. Brown sugar retains moisture and can become hard over the years. It is still safe to consume, but not very convenient to use. White sugar is the best option for long-term storage. Sugar is needed not only for cookies, it is a calorie source of energy. In an emergency, having a quick source of energy can make a significant difference. Sugar can also be used for preserving fruits, making jam, or even for treating low blood sugar. Believe it or not, but it can even be used for treating wounds in extreme cases. It's not an ideal option, but better than nothing. Together, salt and sugar cover many tasks. Salt is responsible for preservation, seasoning, and meeting basic health needs. Sugar brings calories, comfort, and versatility. They don't take up much space, don't spoil easily, and do much more than just enhance the taste of your food. So, if you're just starting to build your supplies, don't forget to get a few bags of salt and sugar. They may not look exciting, but they certainly deserve their place in your supplies. The second product is grains. If you are stockpiling for emergencies, Grains should be one of your main products. They are inexpensive, filling, and some can be stored for decades if kept properly. Grains are rich in energy and nutrients. They provide the carbohydrates necessary to keep going when life gets tough. Unlike fresh vegetables or dairy products, they do not spoil easily, especially if stored in a dry and airtight manner. There are two main types: soft and hard grains. Soft grains include products like oats, quinoa, and barley. They are usually stored for about 8 years, but if kept in airtight containers with oxygen absorbers, the shelf life can extend to 20 years. Hard grains are even more durable, including wheat, feed wheat, buckwheat, and rye. These products are made to last long. Depending on storage conditions, their shelf life can range from 12 to 30 years or more. But there is one nuance. Not all grains are equally beneficial. Brown rice may seem healthy, but it spoils quickly, in just 6 months, due to the oils in the husk. This is not what you need to store in your supplies. Therefore, it's better to choose white rice or other long-term grains. Grains also have another superpower: versatility. You can grind grains into flour for bread, cook porridge from them, or add them to soups and stews. In survival conditions, having a grain reserve means you will always have food. And the best part is that most grains are easy to find, affordable, and simple to store. You don't need special equipment or skills. Just take a few oxygen-proof bags, buckets, and you're ready. Once you deal with the grain, you're already halfway to creating a food supply that can withstand almost any hardship. Ready to learn what else to add to your emergency stash? Keep watching. Next is one of the best sources of protein that can be stored for a long time. Beans are inexpensive, easy to store food rich in protein, and will be your best friend. These are like small survival capsules from nature, filled with everything necessary to stay strong and fed when the electricity goes out. Dried beans can last over 10 years if stored properly. It's incredible, and they don't take up much space. A few bags of beans can significantly boost your supply of real nutrients. Beans are rich in protein, fiber, and complex carbohydrates. In an emergency situation when fresh meat may not be available, beans become one of your main sources of protein. Moreover, if you combine it with grains like rice or wheat, you get a complete protein, meaning all the essential amino acids your body needs. There are many types of beans, but some are better suited for long-term storage. Red beans, black beans, and pinto beans are the most common and readily available in bulk. These types of beans are versatile. You can make chili, soups, stews, burritos, anything. Want to add variety? Try adding peas, chickpeas, or adzuki beans to your list. These varieties store well and bring new flavors to your dishes. Note that oily beans, such as soybeans, do not store as long, so they are better for short-term use. One of the advantages of beans is their simplicity in preparation. You only need a little water and a pot. Soak the beans overnight, boil until soft, and there you have a hearty meal. But here's a tip. Always check the beans before cooking. If they look strange, have an unpleasant smell, or become slimy after soaking, throw them away. Safety first, even in survival conditions. And, as with grains, it's important how you store beans. Keep them in airtight containers. Jars, oxygen-proof bags, or sealed buckets are great for storage. This will help avoid pests and maintain freshness. 4. Honey. If there is a product that time literally does not touch, it is honey. Seriously, scientists have found jars of honey in ancient Egyptian tombs that were still edible. That's how durable this product is. Honey does not spoil. Over time, it can crystallize, but this only indicates that it is still serving its functions. You can even warm it up, and it will return to its smooth golden state, as if nothing had happened. Honey is an essential product for any pantry. Not only does it last long, but it also brings many benefits both in the kitchen and beyond. In terms of calories, honey is a true energy boost, filling the body with natural sugars, making it ideal for a quick energy burst when needed. 1 spoonful, and you are ready to act. Moreover, unlike other sweeteners, honey contains antioxidants and has antimicrobial properties. This is an additional plus for maintaining health in difficult times. It can also be used for preserving fruits or making homemade energy bars. Mix honey with nuts, oats, or dried berries, and you will have a portable snack that lasts a long time. And most importantly, honey takes up very little space and does not require refrigeration. Just store it in a tightly closed jar in a cool, dark place, and it will be ready at any time. Now let's talk about nuts. Nuts may not be the first thing that comes to mind when stocking up, but they are worth adding. They are rich in healthy fats, proteins, and calories, making them true superheroes for survival. In a world without fresh produce, nuts will provide you with energy and essential nutrients. Almonds, peanuts, walnuts, pistachios, all of them bring something good. Some are crunchy, some creamy, but all store better than you might think if properly cared for. The challenge lies in the oil content of the nuts. It gives them flavor, but can also lead to rancidity over time. How to keep them fresh for a long time? First, buy raw or dry roasted nuts without added flavors. Spices and seasonings add moisture and can speed up the spoilage process. Then store them in airtight containers, such as vacuum bags or jars with oxygen absorbers. If possible, storing in a freezer or refrigerator is also suitable. The main thing is to ensure that the container is tightly closed. Some supplies even vacuum seal their nuts for extra protection. This takes a bit more effort, but can double or triple their shelf life. If storage space is limited, nut pastes like peanut or almond are a great option. They last longer than whole nuts and can be eaten straight from the jar in an emergency. Just choose those that don't require refrigeration before opening. And here's a bonus. Nuts are not just a snack. They can be used in dishes, desserts, or even ground into flour for baking. Speaking of versatility, don't forget about nuts while creating your supplies. Yes, they require a bit more care than rice or beans, but the result is worth it. Now let's move on to one of the simplest survival products that can be quickly taken with you. Protein bars. When the world goes awry and there's no chance to enter a restaurant or grab a sandwich from the fridge, protein bars can save your life, or at least keep your sanity. They are compact, calorie-dense, and nutrient-rich. The best part is that most of them require no preparation, refrigeration, or any prep work. Just unpack and eat. Protein bars come in various flavors and formulas. Some are meant for athletes, others for tourists, and some are specifically created for emergency supplies. In any case, they are one of the simplest survival products that can be stocked up. Each bar usually contains 10 to 20 grams of protein, which is quite useful when fresh meat is not available. Additionally, they contain fiber, carbohydrates, and healthy fats that will help you in tough times. And let's not forget that they are tasty. In a post-apocalyptic world where everything else tastes like cardboard and regret, having something that truly resembles chocolate peanut butter is pure gold. Most protein bars have a shelf life of 1 to 2 years, and sometimes even longer, depending on storage conditions. Store them in a cool, dry place, and they will last significantly longer than you expect. But here is a warning. Protein bars can melt, and when they turn into a sticky mass, they will be quite difficult to handle. So avoid storing them in a hot place, like in the car during summer or near a water heater. Now let's talk about one of the simplest and most budget-friendly survival products, canned goods. You probably already have a few cans in your pantry, maybe tomato sauce, beans, or tuna. But here's the thing. These cans can provide you with food for years if you don't open them. Canned food is the best friend of a prepared person, as they are inexpensive, easily accessible, and have a very long shelf life. You don't need special skills or equipment to store them. Just make sure they stay dry, cool, and away from direct sunlight. The best part is they are ready to eat. No cooking required. Just grab a can opener and go. In an emergency situation when the power is out and fresh food is gone, this convenience is invaluable. Most commercial canned goods have a shelf life of 1 to 5 years, depending on the contents. High-acid foods like tomatoes and citrus can last up to 18 months. Low-acid foods like meat, vegetables, and soups can be stored for up to 5 years or even longer with proper storage. And here's a tip from a professional. Don't limit yourself to just meat and vegetables. Canned broths and sauces can add flavor and nutrients even to the simplest dishes. Just remember to always label and date your jars. Use the old ones first and place the new ones behind them. This is called the first in, first out method. This is the simplest way to avoid unpleasant surprises later. So the next time you're in the store, grab a few extra cans. You'll be surprised at how quickly your emergency supply grows and how much peace of mind it brings. Now let's move on to the modern approach to long-term food storage, frozen vegetables. Let's talk about what most people forget when creating their emergency supplies. Fruits and vegetables. Fresh products spoil quickly, but that doesn't mean one should give up on vitamins and flavor in survival conditions. Here, freeze-dried foods come to the rescue. And believe me, it's a real find. Sublimation removes almost all moisture from food, about 99%. This prevents the growth of bacteria and mold, allowing food to be kept safe for decades. Some freeze-dried fruits and vegetables can last for 25 years or more if stored properly. Yes, you heard it right. 25 years or more. Unlike old-fashioned canned goods, freeze-dried products retain their color, shape, and most importantly, flavor. Just add water, wait a few minutes, and you have a fresh slice of apple or tender green beans. They are also very lightweight, making them ideal for hiking, emergency kits, or just to have a backup at home in case of unforeseen circumstances. You can find everything from strawberries and bananas to peas, carrots, and even complete dishes like scrambled eggs or chili made from freeze-dried ingredients. But the best part is that they do not require refrigeration. It is enough to place them in a cool, dark place, and they will be ready when you need them. Cooking is not necessary, although you can heat them up if you want. One thing to note, once the packaging is opened, they start absorbing moisture from the air. Therefore, it is wise to use them quickly or seal them tightly. Some prepared individuals even buy them in bulk and store them in vacuum bags with oxygen absorbers for extra protection. This way, each portion stays fresh until you decide to eat it. Now, I know what you're thinking. Aren't these strange astronaut snacks? Yes, but that's the point. If NASA trusts this product for feeding astronauts in space, you can be sure it's reliable for survival on Earth. So, if you want your dishes to be bright, tasty, and truly nutritious, don't miss the opportunity to use freeze-dried products. Ready to move on? Next, we will reveal the secret of making survival food really delicious: spices. Let's be honest. Survival in an emergency does not mean you have to eat like a sad robot forever. Spices are often what people forget when forming their supplies. But if you've ever tried eating plain rice and beans for the 10th time in a row, you know how important flavor is. The good news is that most spices can be stored for a long time, or at least several years, without losing their properties, and they take up almost negligible space in your cupboard. Ground spices like garlic powder, paprika, and chili can retain their flavor for 2 to 3 years. Whole spices like peppercorns, cinnamon, and dried herbs such as oregano, thyme, and rosemary can be stored for 5 years or more. Keep them in a cool, dark place, and they will stay fresh much longer. If you want to be especially prepared, vacuum pack them or store them in jars with oxygen absorbers. This way they will be protected from moisture, light, and air, the enemies of flavor. This is what many do not understand. Spices are needed not just for flavor. Some of them can be a real find for survival. Cayenne pepper can be used to stop bleeding if applied to a wound. Cinnamon and cloves have natural antibacterial properties. Garlic powder is useful not only for rice dishes. It can help strengthen the immune system. And let's not forget that having favorite spices can significantly lift the mood. In a world where everything seems uncertain, the ability to add a bit of spice to canned beans or a protein bar can make a big difference. So the next time you're at the store, grab a few extra jars. You don't need a full spice set, but basic items like salt, pepper, garlic, onion powder, cumin, and maybe a bit of hot sauce will make your dishes more interesting. You will thank yourself later when everyone around is looking at their bland supplies while you enjoy something that truly has flavor. Now let's talk about what many completely forget when planning for emergencies: water. Yes, you have beans, rice, and honey neatly arranged in a row, but if the plumbing stops and you have no way to get clean water, all other supplies won't matter. You can survive a few weeks without food, but only about 3 days without water. That's why storing water is just as important, if not more so, than food supplies for survival. I know what you're thinking. Can't you just boil water from a lake or melt snow? Technically, yes. In practice, it's not always safe and definitely inconvenient when you're already under stress. Let's simplify the task: how much water needs to be stored, and how to ensure it remains safe. The general rule is 1 gallon per person per day. This covers drinking, cooking, and hygiene needs. For a family of 4, that's at least 120 gallons a month. The amount is increasing rapidly. You can buy water in plastic bottles, which is suitable for short-term storage. But for long-term, you should invest in large containers or barrels made of food-grade plastic. They can hold from 5 to 55 gallons and are designed to keep water fresh for many years. But here's the catch. Water can spoil if stored incorrectly. Plastic bottles deteriorate over time, especially when exposed to heat or sunlight. Therefore, store your water in a cool, dark place, such as a basement or garage closet. Also, refresh your supplies every 6 months or a year. Use old water for watering plants or cleaning, then replenish with fresh. Want to do even more? Add water purification tablets, filters, or even a portable filtration system to your emergency kit. Thus, if your supplies start to run low, you can safely process questionable water sources. And don't forget that your pets also need water. If you have animals, consider them in your calculations. Water may not be as appealing as honey or protein bars, but it is the quiet hero of any good emergency plan. Once you take care of water, you will have a reliable and balanced supply to help you endure any trials. Are you still with me? Excellent. Let's move on to smart storage tips so that all supplies remain fresh and ready for use at the most needed moment. You already have selected products. Wonderful. But here's the thing. It doesn't matter how long shelf-stable products can last if you don't store them properly. Proper storage is the secret weapon of every serious prepper. It transforms a random pile of cans and packages into a full-fledged supply pantry that can last for years, perhaps even survive several apocalypses. Let's start with the containers. Many make a mistake here. Not all storage containers are the same. If air or moisture gets inside, your food won't last as long as it should. Glass jars are the real superheroes of food storage. They protect against insects and keep moisture out. Perfect for storing products like beans, rice, or sugar. Just add an oxygen absorber, seal the lid tightly, and it's all set. There are also Mylar bags. These shiny foil bags block light well and protect against oxygen. In combination with oxygen absorbers, you will get an almost perfect way to store grains, dried fruits, or even spices for years. And don't forget about 5-gallon buckets. They are perfect for storing products like flour, oats, or pasta. Again, use oxygen absorbers and store in a cool, dark place. Now let's talk about labeling. Trust me, in 6 months, you won't remember what's in the bag labeled miscellaneous. Label everything, indicating what it is and when you stored it, so you will know what to eat first and what can wait. This will also help avoid mysterious dishes in the future. Another important tip is to use the first in, first out method. Always take the oldest products first. Regularly update your supplies to prevent spoilage and waste. Location matters too. Heat and sunlight are enemies of long-term food storage. The best place for your backup pantry is a cool, dry, and dark place, such as a basement, a garage closet, or space under the bed if space is tight. Be careful with humidity. Moisture destroys food. If you live in a damp area, consider using desiccant packets or even a dehumidifier in your storage. And don't forget about pests. Mice love your supplies just as much as you do. Store food on elevated surfaces in airtight containers and regularly check for unwanted guests. Remember, water is as important as food. Don't forget to stock enough water for all family members, including pets. If this text has given you useful advice or made you rethink your food supplies, let me know in the comments. I'm curious about what products you already have in your stock. Are you for beans or do you prefer protein bars?